whatever you'd like.
Oh, we have to let them know. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. We have an amended agenda tonight, and just so we're all on the same page, the public hearing tonight for Rockamore Acquisitions. The applicant has requested continuance to November 20th, 2024. So we will not be opening that part of the public hearing, and we will be going on to the regular agenda. You guys okay with that? Or do you want to open it and we don't have to open anything, right?
No,
we
we
just
don't
keep on
have to
going.
hear
Okay.
But when we get to the agenda, we should open the line item.
Yep. So the first agenda item is public comment. Anybody in the public that would like to address the commission on something outside of the agenda? Seeing no one, on to the first item, consent agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item A will not be open because we did not do the public meeting.
I have a question about this. Oh, now we have five. I have a question about that. Tonight is close to the 90th day. So essentially they've given us an extension.
That's on our table.
There's an extension. I left the piece of paper in my office, but
Oh, we have it right here.
I did the time frame.
Oh, okay.
I had done the time frame. It's not here this evening, but they have the 65th day for having the hearing completed would be sometime the end of October, towards the end of October. So they're consenting for another.
So when something like this happens, I don't think it's happened before. Do they need us to agree to the extension? So should we take a vote on extending it?
I would just accept the extension.
So
They have the right to do so, so I would certainly do that.
But we don't.
Correct.
Okay. All right, now.
Hearing that comment, motion to accept the continuance to November 20th, 2024 for Rockamore Acquisitions.
Second. Oh, was that the motion?
I'm requesting one.
Oh, I'll move that we extend this to the November 20th, 2024 meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just so we're all on the same page, now that that part of the agenda is over, everyone you see is now sitting. Agenda item B, site plan landscaping modifications, Rocky Hill Gateway LLC, proposing several modifications to landscaping throughout the project known as Kelson Row, including but not limited to caliper size, quantity of plantings, located at 2418 Main Street in a town center zoning district ID 10-184.
Just a point of order. We just had somebody walk in who may not realize that. Are you here for the Rockamore?
It's been continued since to November. They asked for an extension, so we will not be hearing that part of the. So, thank you for coming, but it's going to be on November 20th. All right.
Sorry about that.
High-tech.
You want to put that up
Maybe the battery.
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Jason Morehouse. I'm with SLR Consulting. I'm an landscape architect. So we are seeking a landscape modification for 3 different items that was slightly different than what we were coming for last time. The first item, we're still seeking a ability to switch from the pin oaks to red maples within the parking lot. Just a better tree for the parking lot, less maintenance, less worries about things falling on cars. So that is why we're seeking that. The caliper size and the overall size of the trees will remain the same, just a different species. The second item is we would like to switch the caliper size of only one tree this time. It's the Heritage River Birch. We previously were proposing 12 to 14-foot trees, and we would like to switch it to 8 to 10 foot. It's still above the minimum of your zoning regs for multi-stem trees. So we have that item. There's 8 total trees on the property of that species. And then the last one is the reduction of the buffer along the north and the east property lines. The north side along the left edge of the page as it's facing you, and the east side to the top of the page. Previously, we showed a larger reduction along the east side. We tried, or we matched what we were proposing along the north side to make it a more even, less large gaps in the tree line. We still have the 6-foot vinyl fence that surrounds the property, along with the existing buffer that we would like to keep and utilize. It is a reduction in overall plants from what was previously approved, but we did increase the overall shrubs on the property to beautify the interior by about 300 to help offset the reduction in the buffer itself. And those are the 3 items which we're seeking modification for.
We'll go to the commission. Any, Commissioner Glico, you'll be up first.
Can you just explain the reasoning behind reducing the buffering on the north and the east?
We felt that the size of the trees we were proposing, along with the fencing and the existing buffer, was adequate, if not above adequate, of screening for the adjacent properties. There's also a large elevation difference along the east side, so we're trying to pull the trees up closer, to the top of the slope and utilize it that way. Anywhere where it's an area of concern on the south side where you're very close to adjacent properties, we didn't touch the buffer at all. We only did it in the select areas on the north and the east where we thought that the existing buffer was adequate.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name's Harrison Levy with Belmonte Associates, developer. So just to reiterate what Jason just indicated, I joined the company in January. So part of the changes being described here was discussed with our landscaper that was doing the work with us. So if you haven't visited the site, it is heavily wooded at the rear of the property. So we moved the trees around to better provide more privacy. So we didn't make it.
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Hussey.
Jason, we've got some information in our packet regarding change of location on some of the condenser units. I don't know, did you see that? Are you addressing the commission in regards to that?
That was a separate issue that was brought up later
Okay.
to these three items. I do have drawings that will show we
Hello, everyone. This is Mark Berlenza again. Nice to see you all. I think what we'd like to do is just take these two issues separately, because this was actually, our, application to you all to sort of try to enhance and change some of the landscaping plans. I guess that then there was also a complaint that came in saying that there was condensers on Main Street, and so maybe if we can just address that
Yeah,
separately,
that's
because
fine. Yeah.
it wasn't really part of this application. Not even sure it's appropriate to talk about it because it wasn't.
Well, the
wasn't
letter
really-
was addressed to Jason and actually, I think it was Jason and Harrison. So that's the only reason I brought it
Yeah,
up. But if you want to take it separately,
Just-
that's fine. I know it's going to involve landscaping, so
yeah,
we can
will-
certainly segregate them. That's fine.
That's all. We'll definitely get to it and we'll
Sure.
speak.
Not a problem. All set.
Just point of order. Is that part of what you're asking for tonight, or is this
No.
something that's going to come up in the future?
We're not asking for a change in plans right now on the street because the only thing that's up before you right now is what Jason described.
Okay, so this is a
Separate.
different issue.
Different.
Okay.
With that, Commissioner Moorhurst.
I'm sorry. You mentioned that you're reducing the height of the trees on the north side.
just the heritage birch trees, which are through the property. They're on the interior of the property. We didn't reduce the height or caliper size of any of the border screening. Just the number
Okay. You're reducing the number or
on the
on the north
on
side?
the east and north side, yes. But we did raise it from the last landscape modification meeting that was continued to this. We added more back, but it's still a reduction from the original.
So this is going to be less trees than what we approved 2 years ago or whenever that was.
Correct.
And what's the logic behind this? Not the logic, but the rationale. I mean, what's driving this?
The reduction of the buffer plantings was just to try to utilize the existing screening that we have with the 6-foot fence that we're putting around the entire property. We thought we'd be able to reduce the number and still get adequate coverage.
So essentially what it is, it's, while it's less than what was originally approved, it's more than what was shown at the last meeting.
Yeah, with the, right. But this is what we're
For right.
looking at tonight.
I guess, I
What we
mean-
saw last meeting is over and done with. It's been changed.
Your comments were,
Yes.
additional trees were added back in. The main concern is, I believe, on the rear of the property, you guys had some concerns that we took out too many trees. And we're trying to get approved, we made adjustments, add those trees back in, even though it's heavily wooded, but just to hopefully get an approval for that. So once again, the landscaping that is here, this is all thick, heavy landscaping that we are at a much higher elevation. At a 6 or 8 foot tree, you won't be able to see, especially when we have a 6 foot high fence.
What's the overall change in impact based on what we approved 2 years ago? I guess that's what I'm driving at.
What's the over-end impact? I don't think there, to be honest with you, I don't think there is an impact. We're reducing the quantity of trees in the heavy wooded area.
Sometimes I guess just when we before you, whatever it was, 2.5 years ago, the site itself was heavily wooded. After we sort of clear the lines of disturbance and we get to see what's out there, then we can kind of tell, which areas actually wooded with native trees and what we actually have to enhance the buffer with. But I think what we're saying is the areas that we're reducing the trees, we feel that the buffer was adequate, but we're still putting in the fence and the trees because that's what we promised you all. And then we've kind of taken some of those trees, other plants, kind of moved them around the site more, just to kind of enhance the whole thing. So we think in general, we're eliminating some, adding some plants elsewhere, but the overall effect for the community, we think is a positive. I in essence, that's what, these guys know the plans better than me. I'm just kind of listening here, but I think in overall, that's what they're kind of trying to say.
By community, you're referring to the development itself or the neighborhood?
I think overall, I can say overall, just to reiterate, the back corner of the property. That was probably one of the biggest covering, double foot and 5 feet, areas based on the existing conditions that had a gap between our property and
And the fence is inside or outside the tree?
the fence would be on the, that's been the same. We haven't changed the location of the fence, generally speaking, to the garages or the property line. We've just spread out the trees better. So to answer your question, the reason it changes based on when we designed the project, there was a lot of other plantings, like Mark just indicated, that when I was on site walking with the landscaper and saying, okay, here's the design. Does it really work with our landscaper that's putting the plantings in? Moved them in, adjusted them based on the existing conditions to making sure they made sense.
So after all the work you've done for 2.5 years, suddenly you realize that this needs to be done, or you would like this to be done? I'm trying to get an idea of why,
Why
after
now?
all this time,
Because you
the
don't
trees
know,
have to change.
because until you have the buildings in place, you don't know how it relates. So we had the other natural barriers up that until we actually removed the rest of the plantings is when we determined that was needed. So the landscaper just got hired, which is my experience in construction. Is once you get them, when we hired our landscaper, the subcontractor doing that work, is when he brought up some of the items that we're discussing tonight.
All right, that's all.
Commissioner Robbins.
I'm just a little perplexed because we've got this document, which is dated November 8th, 2021, and then we got this document, which is June 16th, 2020.
Well, I put on the table what had been approved, because what they're saying is,
Okay.
from what was approved, yes, there is a reduction, but when you look at what you had at the last meeting, you can see that there's an addition of things. So I wanted you to.
But we
get
didn't
that
approve
here.
anything at the last meeting. We
No,
approved
that's
things
correct.
back
No,
in
we-
I'm aware
2021.
of that.
Okay.
You saw it.
So this is the approved, the one
That
from
was what
2021.
was originally filed.
Okay.
And then you have the plan from when they came in last time, which shows a reduction from that. And now you have what they have tonight, which shows conservatively more than what you saw at the last meeting. So somewhere kind of in between.
So I'll run with that. So all right. So the first thing I'm seeing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on the entrance to the property,
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at the front entry. Nothing's changed at the street view.
well then we're looking at different documents then, because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 on the. So it looks like there's a reduction on the entrance. I mean, that's what I'm showing between the two diagrams. And then what is that at the entrance? PB London Plane Tree. All right. And previous on this one, you had a bunch of red oak. AR, 6 ARs, 7 ARs, and then a GT. So
Why don't I give them this? Give them my copy of this. Would you like a copy of that which I gave you is the copy of the plans recorded on the land records.
You have to, yeah.
And there's another one in between.
This is the original.
That's the original.
Yeah, I think
There
what's
was another
And then this is,
yeah, I think what's happening is there were 2 other modifications to
and
the
those
plan
are here.
that you're not seeing. You're looking off the wrong. This is the original approval.
That's the original approval.
There was 2 other modifications. One modification where we changed the town park, pocket park, and then the meditation area in the back. That was, and we split the clubhouse. That was maybe a year and a half ago. And over the summer, we made other modifications. I
But
think you
that
have to,
wasn't the landscaping in front.
it probably was it was the rep.
So,
it was the-
so,
I
so
think
am I
you're looking
correct in
off the
saying
wrong
there's
plan.
been a sequence of minor modifications that today have led to,
No,
The minor
Oh.
modification was the sign.
oh,
That was the minor modification. That's
I think
the-
I was saying I think you're looking off. You might be looking at the wrong plan because we had other site plan modifications, and this is the original approval.
at least that's at a disadvantage. And again, my concern here is that, right now the buildings, they're being constructed, but right now there's a very sharp contrast between the trees that are in the memorial green and then boom, buildings. And if we don't get some height, I mean, to the trees that in the area that's going to be to the entrance and along Main Street, that's where my biggest concern is. So, my biggest concern is the 2 little parks on each end, the entrance, and anything else that's along Main Street where we might be going backwards rather than forwards when it comes to.
The only-
Okay.
So just to reiterate, the perimeter buffer was what was adjusted to be reduced. It increased since the last meeting that we weren't at the table till today. And the interior plantings increased throughout the site. But primarily, your concern saying how's the front of the building going to look?
Well, I mean, there's a reduction somewhere because they previously approved for 423 trees. You knock that down to 367, that's 56 trees. But is that 56 trees only on the back of the property? Or are that some of those 56 trees somewhere else that would be nice to know what we might be talking about?
I believe it's 100% in the back of the property, and I think the only one tree.
Is it possible, because we're recording, to talk in microphone? I apologize. We want to make sure it's recorded.
Yep. I was just saying that we added some additional shrubing in the parking lot on the southwest.
Yeah, I'm just, it just would be good to get a sense of exactly what's been eliminated and what's being added where between the two. it's, and again, we want to maintain the buffers with the adjacent property owners so that they have their privacy. We want to maintain the visual. We don't want to lose any ground on the visual aspects on the part that all the rest of us see. As far as the interior, adding shrubs, that's fine. But I just can't decipher exactly what's going on.
Kim, did you have any comments
Well,
to
I
this?
just want to, I don't know if the commission would be, I think they might benefit from looking at what you showed last time. I mean, only because, and if you're looking at the buffer, especially on the east side, what you had last time, and I don't know if it's clear there, I have a copy of it here, but they have increased it since our last meeting.
So I think the overriding question to this is that whatever happened last time is fine. I think the overriding question everyone's trying to figure out is where those 56 trees come from. And I think that what they're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you guys just thinned out the border on the north and the east side, 56 plantings minus one from the pocket park. Okay, so we're at 50 trees, and basically you just thinned them out, and
Areas where
yeah, and you had plantings that existed that you did not rip out, and you were able to reuse to the effect of be able to keep. Is that Kim? Is that what you're?
Yeah, well,
hearing
I just
also?
wanted to make sure the commission was aware and actually looked at the last submission.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we understand the spirit of what was done last time, and to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter because
I know, it's a
what's
new-
before us is we care about that part. I think the overriding question is where it happened to all the trees, and we get the answer is that basically they just thinned them out.
Because we didn't want to, not to belittle it, we were putting trees in the woods that our neighbors wouldn't benefit from. And I think you just brought up a point. We want the place to look nice for us and for you guys. So by making it not look nice doesn't help us either. Like we need it to look right in order to get residents to want to first move in and want to stay there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how we went from 7 red maples to the entrance, which is what you're trying to propose now is doing more red maples, but now we're down to 4. And believe me, I have a hard time reading, and I got new glasses. PB is that London plane tree.
I can only state that the drawings that you might be looking at there from the last approval that we have that I was looking at, we did not change the quantity of trees. We only changed, I believe, was an oak tree that had, from a resident standpoint, that could have acorns falling off of it. So when we looked at an internal meeting with our landscaper, we decided to switch that to a different tree, same height, same coverage, to try to help with our residents. So when they're parking under those trees, they're not having those items fall on the cars.
This is Mark Valenz again. We have the construction manager from Associate here too. I just recalled also that part of the reason why some of this existing buffer is here is we didn't really clear to the limits of what we could have cleared when we first walked the site. So a lot of these trees that were some of these trees that were eliminated weren't necessary because we didn't actually clear what we could have cleared. Right when we first started, maybe 2 years ago, we kind of walked the perimeter, looked at the property lines, and then the excavator said, "Are you sure you want to clear all these trees? This is going to eliminate a natural buffer. It's already here." So part of it, I believe, is eliminating some of these trees because when we originally cleared, we didn't clear everything that we could have. We tried to be a little more respectful of what we actually needed once we got out in the field. That's I just went over that.
Yeah, I mean that explains
The ones to the back. Yeah.
but I'm still trying to wrestle with the front side of the property, and so I guess again, what I'm looking at is that on the record here, I have an approved plan for a different planting on the entrance, and some other trees that were between buildings on this plan approval, and now those trees don't exist.
Question,
Looking at the
question to staff. When a minor modification is done, does that mean that goes on the land record in place of what's there? Just for operational purposes.
For,
How does it work? This
Yeah,
this plan stays on, and if there's a change,
yeah, but
Then
the
it's
commission
recorded,
still
right?
has to sign it.
right?
Yeah.
And this is the only one that's been,
That's
so
been
there's
on
been
there.
nothing between this
No,
time
that-
and,
we have some modifications, but on these sheets here that were submitted today,
Mhm.
it's to the pocket parks, and it's to the architectural elevations. So that's not, it's nothing to do with the other landscape.
correct.
on
so to
these
Commissioner
sheets.
Robbins' point, what he sees in front of him tonight,
Was not a minor modification.
no, but what he sees in front of him
Is
tonight,
why they're here. I mean, they're here for landscaping changes.
right?
The elevation,
So he can make the comparison of what's on the table tonight.
not, I don't,
Oh.
I think the elevations were given to you guys over the summer's meeting that indicated the landscape.
We're not, we're, no, we're really not, I gotta be honest, we're not sure what you're looking at. What landscape you want.
I'm just trying to solve if
Yeah,
there's
I know, we're-
missing
like I
plans
said,
or
we're
whatever
not-
here. We're
The landscape in the entry, when we came back for the clubhouse, we might have changed some landscaping drawings, so that's why we're not apples to apples. Like I said, we're not really sure. We just know that we're eliminating, I guess, 50 trees from the initial approval. That's, but we can come back and show you
Yeah.
exactly what we're doing.
The front, the elevation drawings from the summer's meeting showed the landscaping. We had rendering showing where that was in regards to building 11. Those drawings are the same drawings for what we're showing today. Now, when you talk elevations, they're showing the trees and the plantings. So to your point, the trees that were presented at that meeting are still on the drawing, so they haven't changed. You're looking at the drawing that was previously.
Any of the drawings we have here, the only landscaping on these drawings is around the clubhouse itself and the pocket park and the community garden. Those are the only landscaping on the Mylars that have been submitted for signature.
So I just want to ask some other questions, just for my insight onto the proposed changes. The London plane tree, is that an evergreen or deciduous? Okay. And how big do they get? Oh, they get.
They could grow. Yeah, they're the big.
All right, and what's the duration of their leaf canopy? Where, I mean, for instance, like a Norway maple has no, like the Norway maple comes in earlier and stays longer through the fall.
Oh.
Uh, all right. The other question I had was, it seems like I still see, you still have some pin oaks left in areas where there's not. You have one pin oak in the park. In the where did it It's just over here. Am I looking at the park here? It says PO.
Oh, that's
Oh, okay. All right. And the other question I had was, you envision you're going to run into any problems with red maples? Because, I mean, red maple are a facultative wetland species that require a lot of water.
Can you just make sure you're talking to the microphone? Sorry, thank you.
Oh,
we use it a lot in urban sites, streetscapes, parking lots. It does well. It's drought tolerant. good for, we like to use them in parking lots. They don't have fruit, so that doesn't create a maintenance issue for anybody.
Our site has irrigation, so most of the areas of concern.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's have enough water that. Yeah. Again, I'm just wrestling with what's going along around the street and the front entrance, just trying to get a sense of what was, what is, and what we're actually focused on. I don't know if we're gonna figure that out tonight or not.
Well, I'd like,
Let us go back. Let us go back and figure out like what happened to these transition, these plans with the various approvals. We'll come back and tell you if you guys can't answer what's going on.
I think that would do well.
Thank you.
I believe that the issue is what's going on the frontage of the street. I don't think, and I'll take a poll here. I don't think
I have an issue with what's going on in the north and east. And
Okay, so
why
let-
you're doing
so-
it. So just, could you,
hold just 1 second, then you can
Yeah,
make a
sure.
comment. How about we do this? As a commission, how about we table this so they can come back and give us some more information about if there's a missing plan or if there's something actually going on Main Street. And with that, they can better explain the removal of the 50 plants, or maybe they can give some pictures or something to say, hey, we saved these trees, or something to show
That's fair.
why they're doing it.
That's fair.
I think just I think that I think we're in between plans here, and we just want to make sure that this is
Yeah.
tight, because
So what we'll probably end up doing.
the frontage is very important to this town
Yes.
and everything about this project, and we want to make sure this is very tight.
Yeah, so let's go back. Let's go back. We'll regroup. We'll look at the 2 other iterations of plans that were approved, even though we didn't come on the land record, doesn't mean it wasn't approved. But let's go look at that, and then we'll compare those that got approved to what we're proposing now, and we can probably figure out how, what we did in those iterations to try to solve what those plans were, and then we'll take it
Yeah,
from there.
and
And then we'll
then-
do some additional photographs of the existing buffers and
Yeah.
what's there to say why we're
And
moving
maybe-
some plants around.
Maybe on the areas where you're reducing plant, if you can just do like a rendering of saying, this is why we're putting these trees here, like this is existing and this is what it's gonna kind of
Okay.
that, so we can see like, this is why we eliminated all these plants, because literally we're just planting plants on top of plants type of thing.
Yes.
Just reinforce it
That's
with some pictures.
that was the general
Yeah.
gist of why we did what we did,
I
because
think
we're
a
doubling up on
visual-
plants.
I
But
think
yeah,
a
it was
visual will help
perfect.
it solve
And then
it all.
we'll straighten out this
Absolutely.
discrepancy that you have, Commissioner, about what's going on. in the
Yeah,
plans.
I'd just be more comfortable knowing what I'm
What you're
actually
approving.
voting on.
Yes, or voting on. That's right. I
And
appreciate
then,
it.
Commissioner Morris, you had a comment?
yeah, what I'd like to see, and I think you're driving at it, but explicitly, I would like to see what the last approval was, what you're asking for, and what the differences are, and the reasonings behind asking for a change.
Agreed.
Okay,
Very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With pictures.
Agreed.
Pictures and
Agreed.
perhaps colors.
and
Colors are gonna go a long way. If you take the original plan, not to cut you off,
You did.
but if you take the original plan and give us deletions in color of what's coming out of there, that's gonna go a long way.
Yeah. When you say colors, you mean colors of the trees, or
Pick the ones that you're gonna be deleting.
okay, we could
Correct. Yeah.
a rendering of the
Yeah.
existing buffer,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then okay, that's fair.
And one other thing, what the ultimate impact might be, positive or negative, on the people that live in the condominiums to the east and the condominiums to the north.
We'll give you a line.
Because they're-
We'll give you a line of sight
Yeah.
from different angles across the site,
Those
so you can
those
better.
pictures can show that,
Yeah.
show those renderings.
Because we've got dozens of people that live in those 2 areas,
That are nervous about it.
and you're concerned about 3, I mean, you should be, but you're concerned about only 3 single-family homes to the south. You should turn the picture that way. But,
You're
yeah,
right.
I mean, I heard a couple of times last time and tonight that we wanted to have a minimum impact on the people to the south. And I'd like to know what the impact is going to be on the people that are most affected, and the
Okay.
most number of people. I'm not trying to make extra work for you, but.
No, no,
can-
these are fair points.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Okay.
It's an all-encompassing thing. I
Yeah.
think it's a
There's
good
just,
thing.
there's just a lot of, frankly, I'm a little confused. So if I'm a little confused, then I'm sure, then you're probably a little confused still.
Basically, it boils down to what and why you're doing this.
You got it.
Commissioner Glico.
Just had one other question. You mentioned pockets in the rear on the east. That, I'm assuming that's the easement where the drainage was done? Is that why there's a pocket there? Okay, so
When you say,
was there,
Just natural vegetation.
so is that, but is that the easement that runs through there for the storm drain? Okay.
I'd like to hear a motion to table agenda item B so we can get some more information for next meeting.
I'll move to table item B to the next meeting so we can get more clarification of what's actually being asked for compared to the previous approval. Not what you've already submitted, but the previous approval, which was years ago.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
we also, I mean, there was some questions last time about sort of construction methods and cleaning. And so we do have Joe here to speak to how we're trying to keep
Soup.
the,
So let me ask Kim, how do we want to handle this? Do we want to put it on the agenda as agenda item D or E and then make sure the agenda item C is heard first and amend the agenda? Or how do we want to talk about this?
You would have to add it to the agenda. So
Okay.
you can either ask agenda item C if they'd be willing to wait, because they are on the agenda. So you would have to ask the applicant for item C if they'd be willing to wait.
I'd like to let them go since they've been sitting in, and then we can talk about all this afterwards. So I'd like to hear a motion to amend the agenda to add a discussion on construction methods.
yeah, there was some neighboring complaints about dust
At
and
about,
we didn't have the construction
so
manager here.
construction methods for Rocky Hill Gateway LLC to come on after agenda item C, but before agenda item D.
Can we do that without actually publishing the agenda? I mean, should this be next month or
We can.
can we do
we're-
it this
we're gonna-
month?
You can add
We're gonna add to it.
Okay,
yeah.
fine. I just want to make sure we do everything right.
Is there going to be
You
no
just second.
action on this? This isn't a
Yeah, it's just
proposal.
This is a discussion. So can I hear a motion, please?
Sure what it's about.
So was that the motion? You want a second?
I'll make the motion. Second, yeah, I need a second.
I second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna hear the next one, and then we'll hear you guys. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is the Housing Authority, site plan application, Rocky Hill Housing Authority, proposing to add 8 parking spaces at 36 Willow Road, Rocky Hill, Connecticut, in an R20 residential zoning district, ID 14-071.
Good evening. My name is John Olivetto. I'm with APMI.
Make sure you're talking to the microphone. That way you're on record. Thank you.
My name is John Olivetto. I'm with AEPMI. We are the design architects and engineers supporting renovation project for 36 Willow Road. First of all, I would like to point out that there is a correction to your packet. I'd like to hand out parking count, in fact, was off by
Just make sure Kim gets a copy also, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
So tonight we're seeking approval to add not 8, but 7 additional parking spaces. I've actually color-coded the site plan for ease of reading. If I may point out, 7 additional parking spaces are actually new construction in this area. In this area, there'll be 2 regular parking spaces, and actually 4 handicap parking spaces, and 1 van handicap parking. Also through all of the existing parking, is 45, were originally 45 parking spaces. We're adding 7, so that brings it down to 52, of which 17.
Could you please speak into the microphone? If that's possible. Thank you.
45 original spaces, adding 7 brings the count to 52. Again, 4 handicap spaces, 2 regular spaces, and 1 van handicap space. And then to the existing parking, by means of restriping the parking lot, because it's getting, the entire parking area is gonna be milled and repaved, and we will restripe everything, new parking bumpers, new handicap signs. So we're actually able to create additional van parking and additional handicap parking spaces. Part of the overall general project will also add some EV chargers. So again, we're seeking approval to add 7 additional parking spaces on the property.
Commissioner Glico.
You're not showing the EV charging stations on this plan. You're saying this is just parking. I'll repeat that. You're not showing the EV parking spaces on this plan. This
Actually,
is
it's
just
shown on another drawing. There'll be 2 EV parking spaces right here, and actually another 2 that will be for the future.
Okay, just so it's on the record, the commission has created EV charging station regulations, and they also consider that a major change, so that will have to come back to the commission.
Commissioner Hussey.
For the handicap parking, access to those, are you changing anything in order to come out of a van? It's all hard surface coming out of the van right in front of it?
Yes. And again, restriping the parking lot after it's milled and paved.
All set, thank you.
Mr. Moorhurst.
Are we, the EV charging stations aren't part of this application, correct?
I'm sorry?
The EV parking spaces are not part of this application
no,
for us
they're
to
not.
address
No,
tonight.
but
That will be coming.
They are shown currently on the bigger renovation.
Okay, so you'll be coming in at another time for approval of that. Okay, that's all I have.
Commissioner Robbins.
No, I only have an EV charger question. I'll save that for the next go round.
I have no questions. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion to approve the site plan application, Rocky Hill Housing Authority proposing to add 8 parking spaces reduced to 7.
7.
Correct. At 36 Willow Road, Rocky Hill.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the new amended agenda, and we're going to discuss construction methods for Rocky Hill Gateway LLC.
Hello again, Commissioners. Mark Rolenza. I'm just going to introduce the Senior Project Manager from Associated, and then you could ask any questions you want about how we tried to improve, the dust and the water control at the site. Joel will begin.
Before you go into this, Kim, can you tell us the origins of all this? Is this basically what's in front of us in the packet, or is there more to it? Are we talking about complaints?
No, I don't know why it was raised. I was not aware that this was going to be raised this evening.
Okay.
So, oh. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that this was going to come up.
So this was
'Cause
what
I
was
know-
brought up
I
at the
know-
last meeting.
I know there had been a noise complaint working prior to, the hours of operation.
Mhm.
I know we had the complaint about the condensers. We had a complaint about dust, but keep in mind, this has been any construction site, you're going to get these sort of things. This is not unusual.
Mhm.
Not an unusual thing. So, but I didn't know this was coming up tonight. So. And we're in touch with you folks all the time. No, I don't know.
So then I guess we're just going to talk about what's on the thing here about the condensers then, right? Because if
No, I don't
everything
know.
else is just,
I don't know why it came up, but
Guys, last meeting I was told you guys wanted to have someone from Associated here to talk about some of the noise and dust complaints,
don't-
so we brought. Okay.
I don't know if they wanted someone here.
I think the condensers would be more of an issue because the dust and debris, that kind of goes away. Condensers, you run line sets, you guys look for COs, now you got a problem. So the
Here's-
condensers are more of an issue.
Okay, so here's, again, I think we're gonna have to wait till next time to address this issue. As part of the last two approvals that we went over the elevations, we did show the condensers in front of those buildings, and actually in two places, in both Building 1 and Building 2. And we were able to move the condensers back from Building 2 out from closer up the street, but we weren't able to do it for Building 1. So I guess what we're gonna have to do is table this as we tabled the other one, to get our plans in order so you can be looking at the right plans and what they were approved. Now, that being said, that being said, the line sets are in. It's going to be impossible to move those condensers now in Building 1. Impossible. But what we will do is we'll present some other alternatives. First, we're going to get you the right plans that were approved when we went over the elevation. Next, what we'll do is try to get some mitigating factors to try to protect those condensers from the street, so they won't be visible and noise won't be visible. So we're going to have to table. First, we're going to have to table that again to get everyone the right plans, so we're starting from the right place, and then we'll try to give you guys some mitigation methods to do that.
so would you say it would be fair to make that part of what we tabled on the last time, make it
We
part
could-
of your
we could hand-
landscaping and the plans and
Yeah.
everything all encompassed into one?
We can handle it all at once. I just didn't want to handle it
I understand.
because
I
it was
think-
kind of, we didn't get it on the agenda and it was kind of a letter, so that's why I
Right.
wanted to
I
separate.
think it should be a separate agenda item.
Separate.
Two
It's-
totally
that's-
different
Well,
issues.
not if they're proposing screenings and everything else. We should make it part of this landscaping change.
What is it, landscaping, or is it?
We don't know. That's,
Could be, but that's why I brought it up.
it
Well,
could-
it's
we don't
like-
know,
okay.
so
If-
let's make it all
If you
part
gotta
of the
use screening,
landscaping
You
and.
maybe use vegetation, you might use a fence. like-
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
We're
So I'm-
thinking we could show you what we're thinking, but it wasn't really on the
No,
agenda.
no, let's wait until.
Yeah, I agree too, but that's a, yeah, but let's get the plans, so everyone's working off the right plans, and we can address the trees coming into the site, and we can address the condensers.
We
We
should
can
address
show you
all
how
of
we
it.
move Building 2 out.
Yeah.
Building 1, we're gonna have to work with you to get something everyone's kind of happy with.
We're going to have to, let's put all this into one thing. We don't want to separate into two things just because they're all tied together. This is all one site. Let's handle it all together. Correct plans, screenings, everything, all in one.
Rendering, showing everything.
Yep.
I think that's.
Okay. You hear that, guys?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item now E, discussion of the 2025 Planner Conservation Development Process, RFP, interview panel, Plan Implementation Committee membership, 2025 PIC meeting schedule.
We have an RFP that has gone out for the update of the POCD. We've had 5 well-known companies at least inquire about it. The deadline for submission is October 21st. In the RFP, we did in fact include the fact that we have $50,000. That was what was budgeted for it. So they're aware up front. We're talking right now. We're talking about an interview panel, as far as 3 individuals that would sit on an interview panel to choose that entity. I did have a conversation with our chairman here, Dimple Desai, as far as how he wanted to see that work, because I know in the past it was it was long time ago we had the commission make the decision. I think we're having an outside panel make the decision.
Meaning staff or meaning,
It's going to be a combination of staff and possibly someone from another community.
okay. Are we trying to team up with another community to do
No,
that?
no.
Okay.
But we are also including in the POCD, we're including as part of it, the affordable housing plan, which would obviously would have to be updated at an off cycle. So the POCD would essentially being updated at an off cycle. We're including the complete streets policy, and we are including the community resiliency workshop results, which we do have in draft form. And once they're finalized, I will get that out to this commission as well. So all those items will be included in the POCD.
Were they part of the were they part of the request?
They're going to be, well, those
They
are already
know?
those are already completed.
All right.
Those are already completed. So those will
Oh,
be.
so we can just add them. We don't need to have a company do it for us.
No,
All right.
those are already done. So those will be added. We do have a plan implementation committee. The last couple meetings have been not well attended. But what we'd like to do, and I'd like to have this commission think about this, is we have to put together our next year's meeting schedule. And what I'd like to do is kind of put off the PIC committee schedule to start like in July. So they would start meeting in July or in June to at least formulate and come up with new membership. Come up with new membership, maybe more of a condensed working group. So their meeting schedule for 2025 would maybe start in June. And since it's going to be a new plan, they're going to have to get to know what's in the plan. I mean, this commission will know, but not necessarily other members. We're also going to be doing a survey for all boards and commissions to get their input, make sure they're involved in the process as well. So, but respondents are due back the 21st, so next week. We should have some good news for you.
You guys have any questions?
Just wondering, it seemed like the PIC wasn't as effective as hoped, the PIC, as far as pushing the ideas that were in the previous plan forward. Whoever we hire, it would, even if it's just a proposed strategy, it would be good to get a sense of, get their ideas as to some, not just to put the plan forward, but put forward a long-term strategic implementation concept that they could guide us through.
Well, I know that is.
It's just like whenever I do anything with a team at work, we don't leave without an action plan, and then with that action plan, and we tried to do it with the PIC, but we're entirely based on volunteerism in most cases. But maybe folks should be talking about funding sources, budgeting, all of those things, so that make this thing come alive.
In conversations with our town manager, Ray Carpentino, his goal for the town is a overall strategic plan. and he sees this as a leaping off point. So that's what we hope to.
And to what you said about the pick, we had some very good meetings, and I think we made some progress over
Well,
the last couple of
complete
years.
streets
The
policy
complete streets,
came out of
and
that.
we had a plethora of different minds in those meetings that that brought different ideas. So it was, I think they were productive when they were quote unquote attended.
Correct. It was at the last couple meetings were not well
Yeah.
attended. Last couple meetings were not well attended.
So I think the whole issue with the pick is that we didn't have a consistent membership the entire time, and I think it just dwindled because either commissions changed or people just dwindled off, couldn't make meetings, whatever it was. But when people were there, we were actually getting stuff done.
And I think this format that we use, because we've done it once before, and once before it was appointed as if the council appointed it, and it was more like a commission. You have so many of this party, so many of that party, so many members of the public. When that happened, that didn't work well. This was a working group, and it was based upon what was in the document, and that worked better. Unfortunately, we got into the weeds with the spreadsheet, and that's not going to happen again.
That spreadsheet killed many meetings.
Yeah.
That won't happen.
Yeah,
But working groups, I'm finding our working group meetings, because our Affordable Housing Committee is just that. It's a working group, and we're getting a lot done through that.
They're more
type
they're
of-
more focused. They're more focused meetings. That's why
Yeah.
you get more done.
I mean, it helps to have local champions, but it helps even more to have money.
Well, yeah.
Any other business? Looks like we have CROG Regional Planning Commission.
And you have some minutes on the table.
Yeah, I sent Kim the minutes. The last meeting was on September 19th,
Or in
the
the
night
packet.
after our last
Might be.
P&Z meeting. We've actually had meetings in March, I believe June, and now this was the third one for the year. The agenda is basically an information type situation where we hear from the staff of what they're doing. There's there's input from the people that attend from the 39 towns in the region, but not much specific work done. So at this meeting, there was a general introduction, and then adoption of the minutes, typical meeting. And then there was a public hearing on the proposed CROG Plan of Conservation and Development, which there was a presentation of roughly a half hour or so. And what I'm going to do is I'll send you the link to the video so people can watch it. I wasn't sure if I should send it prior to actually discussing it tonight, but if that's what we want to do, I'll do that from now on. That would be, but I didn't want to just
If you send it to me and I can distribute it.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm not going to send it to everybody. I'll send
No, thank you.
everything to you. And basically, after the presentation, there were very few comments from the public and very few comments from the individuals that were at the meeting. And there was a motion to, let me see if I can find it. See, the one I have has the red highlight. But there was a motion to approve the draft of this plan and to send it to, I'm trying to find. Oh, there it is. It's in dark. There was a motion to. I'm sorry. This is really true. I was so organized. See, I have it marked up. Anyhow, the plan has been approved by this commission and forwarded for final approval by the CROG itself. Okay. There it is. The resolution to adopt the plan of conservation and development was made, and adoption was read into the record. The resolution was so moved and approved, and it went to the formal commission, CROG. And then there was a general discussion, a few comments from people that were at the meeting about little things that have been going on in their own communities, towns, and Hartford itself. The meeting is mostly an informational meeting. Most of it is the presentations, and the discussion is by the staff themselves. There's 6 or 7 people show up at these meetings, and then people ask questions. But the video would be helpful if people want to watch it. The one comment I wanted to make is that at the first one in March, we had about 30 towns show up. Now, every town has a regular member and an alternate. We had about 30 show up at the first one. There were, I believe, 25 at the second one. And of the 39 towns in this region, only 15 people appeared from town, which
Just
means
like Pitt.
Hmm?
Just like Pitt.
yeah, which means 24 towns didn't have anybody representing them at the meeting, which is kind of hard to believe. But maybe that shows how unimportant this commission is to the individual towns themselves. But and that's basically the report. But again, I'll send the link so you can actually watch how the process works and see how it's mostly the staff and very little participation by the individual members who attend. And that's it.
Thank you. Zoning enforcement.
We have a spreadsheet. Ben did this spreadsheet. We're getting a lot of calls on things that we have absolutely nothing to do with. A lot of it deals with birdhouses, where people walk their dogs. We're getting some very odd calls. So we have little jokes in the office that I won't go into detail right now, but we do have some. Blight, grass complaints are waning, but blight and unregistered vehicles.
Any minor modifications?
We do have, in that roll of Mylars, we do have something on the sign for Kelton Road. But that was that we felt.
We already talked about the plan implementation committee, unless we have something more.
No.
Affordable housing committee.
Affordable Housing Committee, we were rethinking, we were thinking of doing a housing seminar, first time like home buyers type thing in the fall. We're doing that in January. So we're going to set aside a room in the community center or possibly this meeting space and have people from CHFA, Department of Housing, some of the other programs in to kind of educate people on that. They're looking at what qualifies as an affordable housing unit. Each member has an assignment based upon the affordable housing plan. So they're looking at what actually qualifies as an affordable housing unit. They're looking at the VA because they're converting some of those domiciles, outdated domiciles, to housing units for veterans. Would that qualify? There's one woman that is on the board who resides at the housing authority, and the housing authority is in the process. They have a grant to assess their remaining property to find out the capacity for increasing the number of units on that property, which would go to our numbers as well. And they're talking about possible zoning changes that they may want to see in the POCD also. So they, I'm sure, will have some input.
Any legislation?
We have something here about, I don't know if this was in the packet or not. There was a CCM public policy issue bulletin about diverse housing stock being at the heart of economic development and creation of mixed-use development. And they're concentrating on existing buildings. So think along the lines of Solstein Highway, mixed use, and maybe extending that town center zone, or not necessarily town center zone, but mixed use zoning down north towards on the Solstein Highway. There's a Public Act 24-143 about in the Planning and Development Committee, and it has a variety of different things as far as housing goes. So I don't know if that was in the packet, but if not, I'll get that in the packet for next time.
Any communication?
I don't think so.
Any bills?
Not yet. Coming soon.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.